Mic check. Hello and welcome to all of you. Welcome to Edukemy's YouTube channel. My name is Harsh Singh, and in this video we shall discuss the feature news for today, that is on pharma sector in India. Today is 11th of March 2022 and I welcome all you participants. Amlan, Kriti, Gopal, welcome. Hi Ashish, Netra, Kim, Kanupriya, welcome. Tiyasha, Ashish, Hema, Vivek, welcome back all of you. So let's begin this discussion, and to start with, I want to mention that India is called as the pharmacy of the whole world. The primary reason for this is that India is one of the places where most of the generic medicines are manufactured and exported all around the world. Some of the data regarding this is, see, why generic? Okay, let's discuss each of the parts in details, but then let me give you a small understanding of what we're going to discuss here. We're going to understand about what is the significance of generic manufacturing. We will understand how it is profitable to a country like India. We will understand the system of drug in system of pharmaceutical industry around the whole world. A developed country like USA, where there's insurance sector also roped in, and in India, what is the complete supply chain of drug? What is the supply chain of drug manufacturing and its distribution, both of it. Here we will also understand some data regarding the global pharmaceutical industry and India's pharmaceutical industry. We will also understand what has been the projection of growth of pharmaceutical industries, what are the growth drivers, what are the issues, all this in totality, right? So to begin with, let me show you this particular image. This image talks about our exports. Look at this map on the right. Remember, the exports is how many? $300 billion and import is $400 billion. This is supposed to rise. You know that import is supposed to rise. That is absolutely true. But we are talking about exports. Of the $300 billion of export that we have in 2019-20, the market share of exports of drug formulations or biologicals, that was 7%. 7% of the export was pharmaceutical itself. This indicates that India's pharmaceutical industry is in demand. Okay, then where is it the demand from? Just showing you the significance of India's pharmaceutical industry. Also, what are the other exports? Petroleum products are one of the largest export items. Then you would say, when we are importing so much of petrol, what are we exporting? See, we import petrol for consumption. We also import petroleum products so that we refine them in India and send them back. Jamnagar has got a refinery, Asia's largest, and we import. Reliance imports that petroleum, raw crude petroleum products, and then exports it back to Middle East or other countries to sell it. So petroleum products are one of the largest export items. Then comes pearls, precious, semi-precious stones. You guys, pearls, precious, but you don't get exported. You're right here. What gets exported are the stones. The third is the drugs, and this is only risen. This is only risen during COVID times. All right. And then comes iron, electric machinery, equipments, motor vehicles, marine products, all of them. All right. And you can see very well the share of drug formulations, biologicals was 2.6% in the year 2011 and 12. There has been something which has caused this transition from 2.5 to 7.5%. We will understand that. Not only that, if you look at the share of the whole world, global pharmaceutical market 2023, the projections are such that this year America will have a share of 45%, followed by European market, which has a share of 20%, followed by Asia, which has a share of 25%, Asia Pacific, and then we have Latin America and Middle East has got some share, and this is where our market also lies. USA is our first market, second biggest market is Europe, and the third biggest market for us is China itself, right? So they are not only, the whole market. See, the way in which the market of medicines right now is something like this. The present structure of market is $1.1 trillion and it is supposed to rise to $1.8 trillion in the coming times, right? So let me show this to you. Yes, by 2025 it will be 1.1. So right now right? Not right now. In 2015, it was $1.1 trillion. By 2022 end, it is supposed to become $1.5 trillion. And by 2025, it is supposed to become $1.7 trillion. This is the complete market of the whole world of pharmaceutical industries. Of this, 45% proportion right now, $1.5 trillion is being consumed by USA, right? 20% being consumed by Europe, 25% Asia and Australia included, both the continents, and rest of small proportions, 5 or 10 each by Africa and South of America. So you can very well see which are the major markets around the whole world where there is population or where there is finances. This is one. The other part is, what is India's total production? India's production is around supposed to rise by 2022-23 to $65 billion total production, out of which around $25 billion will be export. See, it's not less. Out of $65 billion of total production, if we are exporting 25, this is more than 1/3 of export. This is the reason India is being called as the export hub for pharmaceutical. And I would like to tell you little more in depth what is the thing that we are called as the pharmacy of the whole world. There are two kinds of drugs which are getting manufactured: patented and non-patented. Simple. Patented drug, if you've been a part of the patent, the complete infrastructure of patent that we understood, that feature news, you would relate very easily here. Patented are those which are under the control of an organization which has received the patent for 20 years, right? So nobody else manufactures. And non-patented are the ones which have either gone beyond the patent year and there is no evergreening of the patent license, or it has received the drug control order. Under drug control order, under emergency manufacture of the medicines, it is being manufactured, or it has become a generic medicine which is no more patented and it can be manufactured by anybody. So, for example, paracetamol can be manufactured by anybody under the name of crocin, under the name of other medications. It can be manufactured. So, non-patented drug, India is the master in the whole world. I will give you the example. 90% of the US market, 90% of the US market is about the US generic drugs. 90% of the market, generic drugs are being imported or being created there, and that is only leading to around 25% of revenue creation. On the other hand, the 10% of American market is leading to 75% of revenue creation. Can you imagine? You can very well understand those drugs which are patented are giving them huge revenues, but those which are not patented, they are giving them less revenues. And this is where India's expertise lies. This is where the competition also lies. When it is patented, there is no competition, nobody else can produce. But if it is not patented, if it is under free licensing, everybody can produce, then India has had many companies which are exporting it. Yes, and the reason that it is only giving 25% of its revenue is because the cost is low. However, you can see 90% of the US market is about the non-patented drugs, and you want to see something more about this. Share of leading destinations for India's export in the year 2021. US. See, the share of US, China, UAE, and then all the European nations included together, UK, Germany, all of them, Netherlands. So this is where India exports most of the items, right? Not that India doesn't import. India also imports pharmaceutical items, but India also exports. India exports generic, but India imports specialized medication, specialized drugs. India imports patented drugs. But then on the other hand, what we export is the generic medication to a huge quantity around the whole world, right? So this is one thing to understand. Another reason why we are called as the pharmacy of the whole world is because 50% of global demands of vaccines we produce, right? See, this organization in Pune, Adar Poonawala's organization, this has become the largest vaccine manufacturer of the whole world, right? Producing around 30 crore vaccinations in a very short time. I think that was per month I was reading, right? 25% of all medicines in US, UK, 40% of all the demand in US, all of them being met through India. India's domestic market itself is supposed to grow 3 times in the next decade, in this decade itself. So from $40 billion in the beginning of this decade to $120 billion, this is what is being speculated as the growth of India's pharmaceutical market, this decade itself. Right, and that is why there are a lot of investments pouring in the country. Another reason why investments are pouring in defense sector is because in pharmaceutical is because India is notorious for breaking the patent laws. We have heard this. India is also not protecting the patents, and this is why the foreign companies say it's better to have our industry installed in India. Right, when the patent breaks, we will be able to at least get some profits out of it, right? Rather than Indian company doing the business itself, let us have them, in share. And that is why India has opened its FDIs, 74% FDIs in brownfield pharma industries and 100% patent FDI in the greenfield pharma industries. This is what India has done, along with including this. Alongside, this is what India has done. See, when the patent laws came up in India, the Indian Patent Act in 1970, it clearly said that India could manufacture through process and product patent both. I hope that you remember what process and product patents are. Through product patent, if tea has to be manufactured, tea can be manufactured by only one person. But through process patent, one can have a different process and the final product still remains same. Kabhi chini pehle dalo, kabhi chini baad mein dalo, kabhi put some milk first, or in the other one don't put milk at all, but then tea gets manufactured. So India was given the liberty of, India itself gave the liberty to it that process patent will be followed. So we would be able to manufacture a lot of medications and export it. 1970 onwards, this is what led to the thriving of export potential of pharmaceutical industry in India. 1995 onwards, when we joined the WTO, we joined WTO beforehand, but 1995 onwards, when WTO was formed, before that it was GATT. When it was formed, they said that in 10 years time, this process patent has to be removed. We will have only product patent and only one product will be released in the market for that name. So India said fine. By the time it was 10 years for India, by 2005, India also released a drug order, right, in which India could break these patent laws for emergency authorization of these medicines, right? So this is what is the story of India, and India still is able to manufacture these medications. India has done a lot of wonders in this field. We have been able to sell generic medications or emergency drugs for AIDS, for malaria, for tuberculosis, for hepatitis, for various other, for diarrhea, for dysentery, for various other diseases. We have been able to manufacture these under Indian laws, and it was rightly done, because India is not a country which is developed, right? Their complete ecosystem of pharmaceutical would fall apart in case it is privatized. So government had to do all this, but the developed countries are not very happy about it, right? So this is one update. Now, one reason why this industry, pharmaceutical industry, is supposed to grow in India or the whole world is this, that the population is supposed to rise with time. Right now, the population of the whole world is around 7.5 billion people, right? 7,500 million people. It has only risen. So right now we are at this juncture 7.5 billion people, and we are supposed to rise to around 11 billion people, around which it will peak. Right, this is at the end of this century, 2100. So children being born right now, 2022, if they survive, ideally they should survive 80 years. If we see that, if there is water enough, if the air is good enough, they'll survive. If they don't go to Mars along with Elon Musk, in that case, they will be able to see 11 billion population of the whole earth, right? And this will be almost a peak. This is one of the projections. This is by United Nations. On the other hand, there are institutions which say that the population will come down, and this could actually be the peak right now, right? So there are two projections. I will show you both of them. In either of the cases, the developing countries have started to spend more on health. The insurance schemes, Jan Aushadhi Yojana, the health and wellness center, preventive medication, all are giving focus on the health infrastructure and medicine facilities. Government itself is focusing. When you yourself mentioned out-of-pocket expenditure must reduce, that means government will be spending more. If government and social spendings are more, then there will be rise in pharmaceutical sector development of India. So this is one thing. The other reason for this showing this graph is that through this, right now the number of people who are above the age of 60 is 11% around the whole world. 7.5 billion people, and 11% of that, around 750-800 million people are above the age of 60 years. But by the year 2050, there will be 20% people who are above the age of 60. 20% people. And this is what is silver economy about: providing them services, providing them care, providing them pharmaceutical. And for their sake, the pharmaceutical sector will be in high demand, right? So this is the update. Which are the top 10 countries here? Top 10 countries by population. Please remember this. I remember we would be remembering top 10 countries by area. India was 7th in number. But more important is top 10 countries by population, because these are the hotspots of demand. These are the hotspots of energy demand, food demand, basic infrastructure demand. So this is where, for food's sake, there will be fights. There will be civil unrest. For energy's sake, there will be more demand. Otherwise, there will be no development. For infrastructure's sake, there will be investments by other countries. Start looking at these 10 countries from that perspective. These are the countries where there will be more, possibly more, socio-political movements for development and progress. Which are those countries? China, already dictating. The second country is India. The third is USA, already quite developed than India is. Fourth is Indonesia, then Pakistan, Brazil, Nigeria, Bangladesh, Russia, Japan. These are the 10 countries right now. And then the 10 countries at the end of this century, this is what has been predicted. India will have a population of around 1.09, 1.1 billion. That means population will decrease. This is what one of the projections says, right? This is, have a look. China, India, USA, Indonesia, Pakistan, Brazil, Nigeria, Bangladesh, Russia, Japan. Top 10. But then later on, the population in many of the countries, China will decrease. China could contract to 700 million, almost half the population it has right now. India's population could also contract a little. And then USA will be around the same. Pakistan, 5th in number as it was before. And then some emerging countries from Africa will have more population. For example, Democratic Republic of Congo, Ethiopia, Egypt, Tanzania will be in top 10, which were not in top 10. They were in the top 20. And some countries from top 10 like Brazil, Russia, Bangladesh, Japan, they will move to the low population numbers. See, so there will be high demand in these countries, right? So there are two projections which are giving this. One projection says the population will rise to 10 billion, and the other one says that the population will rise to around 8 billion itself, and then it will stagnate or even come down. Either of the cases, the percentage of the elders will rise. That's the point I wanted to make, right? And you can see very well, this is the projection. Asia's population will start contracting, but Africa's will rise, and the population of the other continents is almost going to be stagnant. Europe, South America, North America, almost stagnant. The population of Africa will rise, so there will be greater demand in these places. This is where, why am I saying this, is because this is the place where India is making inroads in pharmaceutical sector. Looking at the vision, India has already exported malaria drugs, HIV drugs, COVID medication. Imagine if we had not created these two vaccinations for India. In India, Covishield and Covaxin, many of the people would not have been able to go to their jobs. There would have been more life losses. But we have not only created it for ourselves, we have also, through Mantri initiative, vaccine Mantri initiative, also supplied it to our well-wisher countries. This is something that the developed countries have not been able to do, right? India is still asking for a TRIPS waiver, right? India was asking, no, we discussed this yesterday also, TRIPS waiver, under WTO, at United Nations, India and Africa, South Africa, saying that developing countries, underdeveloped countries, there is a vaccine mismatch of 1:15, right? When one person is being missed out in the developed world, there are 15 persons getting missed out in the underdeveloped countries, especially in Africa. This is the mismatch that the world is seeing, and because of this, the requirement is for India to serve the developing world. So this is the reason that we see a huge boost in India's relationship with Africa relating to pharmaceutical growth. But then getting a little deeper into this article, now you've already known that the world market is $1.7 trillion and India is around $65 billion market, only supposed to rise almost double, 2.5 times of this value. So I would like to explain to you a little more about the supply chain or value chain of this industry. First is the raw material. From raw material, we produce something called as intermediates and APIs, active pharmaceutical ingredients. These are not drugs. These are not drugs which can be consumed. These active pharmaceutical ingredients, they are mixed with something called as excipients. I think chemical engineers would be able to tell this appropriately. And after that, the drug is created. This is something that can be taken in. Excipient are those items which can change the taste, which can change the color, which can change some of the entities of this particular drug, which can make it survive. For example, its shelf life could be more, but then it will not impact the quality of drug. Drug quality will be good enough. They are mixed with these APIs, excipients, and then the drug is created, right? Now, India creates generic drugs. This is what we know. But are we creating the raw material in India? Or do we have the API and intermediary production in India? No, that is not true. We import almost 90% of APIs from China. Not that China only has got those minerals, just that China raised that infrastructure to be able to create active pharmaceutical industries. In 90s, it gave a lot of subsidies to its industries, and therefore it became the supply center for APIs on which the drug industry is dependent. This is one of the bottlenecks for India and the whole world, because we are not only dependent on semiconductors, we are dependent on active pharmaceutical ingredients also from a country like China, right? So this is one of the issues in the supply chain, right? Another issue here is that we are not able to make a lot of profits. In the last 5-7 years, countries around the whole world, they have not been able to make profits, especially where there's cutthroat competition. What is the sector that is which has cutthroat competition? That is generic medicines. Why so? Because every Tom, Dick and Harry is here producing generic drugs. Every person in India is exporting it. Now the problem here is US market. For example, when we are exporting it to countries like USA, you should understand what is their structure. See, what is the structure in India? Drug innovations. Innovations could be scientists or a small consortium of scientists, and then is the manufacturer also marketing, etc. And then the third component is pharmaceutical industry. For example, the hospitals utilizing it, or the pharma chains utilizing it, and then the consumers. This is very simple, right? So we pay for it, they get the profit, pharmacists get the profit, they distribute it, they give it to the manufacturer, and immediately and lastly to the innovator. But American market is not like this. Innovations happen, they pass into it to the manufacturers, and then these pharmaceutical industries, the big chains, these are chains like Walmart or Costco. These are the companies which buy these drugs in bulk. And who do they sell it to? They do not sell it to individuals. They have insurers. They sell it to insurers, or they have some pacts with them. Insurance companies, they are the ones with whom the consumers at the end interact. Now, what is happening here is that there has to be a negotiation done between two stakeholders, between insurance people and the people who are exporting generic medicines from India. All right. And since there is a tough competition, the insurers and the exporters of the medication, these people are only competing with each other. They have a list of the people who can provide these medications at cutthroat competition. Nobody is getting profits here, and that is the reason that the generic medication is not yielding a lot of profits. This is one of the reasons. Also, there is a huge supply. There is a huge, and it is a very well laid out circle in which middlemen are consuming a lot of profits here. So this is why the actual people who are creators of the drugs in generic medication in India, they are not being given the complete amount. This is one of the issues when we talk of exporting of medications. All right. So in turn, the Indian pharmaceutical industry and the world pharmaceutical industry is getting impacted. I would like to show this through example, right? Just through some examples. For example, if you look at a company called as Glenmark, not a big name, Glenmark pharmaceutical share price. Share prices have not risen as much as they were 5 years back. Have a look. 2015-16, the prices, it touched 1200 rupees, but the prices right now are at around 450 rupees. Why so? Even despite the impact of COVID, the prices have not risen as much. It is because there is a cutthroat competition in the export market. This is it. But you should know that USA has maximum number of the drugs getting exported from India. They've got offices, the FDA, Food and Drug Administration, it has got maximum number of approvals for Indian drugs. Even then, we are not able to make profits. This is the reason. This is one of the reasons, the cutthroat competition in USA or developed world. Not only that, the drug control orders, the orders by FDA, they order on inspection of the ground inspection. And then many orders, they say that, the place must be sanctioned, and this is the reason that many companies in India, they are also getting sanctioned because of this. So those are additional issues which pertain to quality of drugs being produced. That is a concern. Quality of drugs getting produced in India is a concern, right? So you've understood about the value chain market, in the market, how Indian market works, how the American market works, what are the issues for India's export, right? On the other hand, India has got Bhartiya Jan Aushadhi Pariyojana. Jan, people, Aushadhi, medicine, and Pariyojana. Which ministry is a part of? Which ministry? Jan Aushadhi Pariyojana is a part of which ministry? Please type it out. Right? India is also innovating in pharmaceutical industry, giving FDIs for innovations. We have also initiated PLI scheme, production linked incentive schemes. We produce more, we are able to accelerate our export, and then we will receive certain incentives for this. See, so PLI for pharma, health policy, Jan Aushadhi Yojana, all of them encourage inclusion of generic medicine and their usage. So this is how India is making some profits for itself. All right. Okay, I'll look at the comments. Hi, Niranjan. German. Sir, is it right to say that costly drugs are patented and cheap drugs are not? None of the drugs are cheap when they are patented. That's true. None of the drugs are cheap when they are patented. They in due course of time, in a matter of 1 year, the price reduces to 30-40%. In a matter of 10 years, the price reduces to as much as 10% of the drug. That is absolutely true. So when you say that cheap drugs are not patented, no. There is no drug which is non-patented. Every drug is patented, and after 20 years, it becomes non-patented when the price reduces, right? Pragyan, I don't understand when you say your hard work has not paid off. Fertilizer and chemical. All right. So thank you for mentioning, Kriti, that this is not Ministry of Health that we are talking of when we talk of Janaushadhi Pariyojana. It's a different ministry. All right. Thank you. So this is one of it. Drop in profits are also because of drop in profit of these companies are also because of volatility of active pharmaceutical ingredients, because they are a part of the process. Those active APIs are not being supplied in time to India, and that is what leads to high cost of prices and lesser profits. Not only that, then as I mentioned, high competition, the participation of China purposefully raised the prices of APIs for the whole world, for which the whole world was irked, and this is what led to the issue in pharmaceutical industries. Regulatory compliances. The regulatory compliances by international authorities has also increased the volatility in this particular sector, right? So this is one update about it. What else? Some advantages that India has are cheap labor, highly productive asset, right? Facilities which does not have as that level of compliances as USA and Europe wants, or you in their own land has. So the cost of manufacturing, it reduces. So India is in competition with China also. Although India exports to China, China has some tariff and non-tariff barriers, specifically non-tariff barriers on Indian pharmaceutical exports. India is not happy with them, right? So these are the issues because of which Indian pharmaceutical sector is doing well despite certain challenges. All right. What else to show you? If you can look at this image, it says the growth drivers of India's pharmaceutical industries are growing and aging population, okay, increase access to pharmaceuticals to poor middle class, focus on rare and specialty diseases. See, right now we are importing a lot of medication for specialty diseases, right? But then since focus is more, there will be more demand, right? The fourth is innovations are happening in newer fields. For example, biologics. There are two kinds of drugs which are getting manufactured. One are the chemical drugs and the other one is biologics, right? So chemical drugs are created through chemical reactions. Biologics, for example, RNA COVID vaccine or DNA COVID vaccine. These are biologics. We are playing with bioentities and we are creating vaccinations through them. There is some advantage of bionics over the traditional forms, that is the chemical drugs, and there's some advantage of the chemical drugs over the bionics. See, this is the upcoming times. Bionics is the upcoming times, because in times we will be able to create medication through utilization of biotech resources. But right now we have been utilizing the chemistry more. But then bionics will need certain temperature, it will need safer travel, it will need those things which the chemical drugs do not need, because chemicals usually would be capsules, would be conducive in temperature usage, right? Their travel transport will be not as tough as biotech entities. But then the future belongs to bionic entities. Right now we are researching on this, and developed world has got more research on this than developing world. What are the issues in growth inhibitors or issues in pharmaceutical industries? Increase in cost controls, right? Now there are times when the companies keep spending, the cost of medication rises. At the end it is found that the drug is not usable or it is not utilizable, their efficacy is not as much. The tightening of government policies around the whole world is leading to lesser profit for the pharmaceutical companies. For example, breaking of the patent, for example, less protection of the patent. Both of them are different things, but then lead to less profit for the innovators. Then decrease return on investment in generic pharma market due to price erosion. All right, all three covered. Okay, so this is how the pharmaceutical industry is managed. All right, now why is it in news? Is because of the Jan Aushadhi week that India is celebrated, right? So India says that we will have Jan Aushadhi centers which are designated just near the government hospitals. People can go and take affordable generic medications from these places, and there will be enormous Jan Aushadhi centers around the whole country. More than 8,600 Jan Aushadhi stores are present across the country, spanning almost every district, making medicines affordable and accessible to the citizens. This is the Jan Aushadhi Pariyojana. Who can apply for it? People who have got pharmaceutical backgrounds, local people, they can apply for this scheme. They can become the persons who are owners of this place. Ministry of Chemicals and Fertilizers. Please remember, not the Ministry of Human Resources Development or Health Family Welfare, right? So why is India's pharmaceutical industry so popular? It is because of the kind of medication that we are producing, antiretroviral drugs. Domestic standing, we've got many industries, 3,000 companies and 10,000 plus manufacturing units. This is the reason that we are able to produce humongous amount of drugs around the whole world, for the whole world. FDI and pharma sectors has only increased. See, as India toughened the regulations, for example, drug control orders being released so that India could break the patent laws, India said we are also increasing the level of FDIs in country. So you start investing, start getting profits, right? So this is one. Next level of, I'll read the questions towards after I complete my portion. Right, so opportunities, $65 billion, only growing with time, FDIs, and more people are participating in FDIs. That means India's pharmaceutical industry is bound to grow. Biopharmaceuticals, bioservices, bioagriculture, bioindustry, bioinformatics, all of them is supposed to rise with time. Medical devices market, see, this is another pain point for India. We speak about we speak about fuel industry, we speak about defense industry. 80% of the medical devices used in India, they are again imported. During the time of COVID exigency, the emergency, we were importing gloves, we were importing the hazmat suits, hazardous material suits. We were importing the simple gears for COVID, right? Treatment. So not only the medical devices, a lot of things are imported in India, right? So right from items which can check the blood pressure, to X-ray machines, to the MRI machines, many of them are imported, and we need to start manufacturing them. So this is a different industry altogether. See, medical industry comprises of human resources, that is hospitals. It comprises of pharma industry, and there is another industry for medical devices, right? So this has got a huge scope in India again. India has also initiated a PLI sector initiative for medical devices increasing. India's medical device market stands at $10 billion right now, supposed to grow 5 times. $50 billion by 2025. See, and this is not the rate at which the developed countries pharmaceutical market or medical devices market is growing. So a lot of funds will come to India. What are the challenges? One is regulatory challenge, right? So we are not being able to inspect our medical facilities. Because of this, there are issues. For example, low quality of drugs being produced in India. So quality of drugs is low. Research and development, you can throw again the same data here. We don't research, develop. Even if we do not protect the patents in India. International, India faces tough competition from China, Israel, Japan, who are leading manufacturers. See, when I told you the supply chain of the industry, there's an innovator here. Innovator. And after that is the manufacturer. Innovator many times is not the manufacturer. Why? Because innovator is usually a scientist, a consortium of people or a small company which are innovating, and they don't have a lot of funds to scale it up and to manufacture it. They pass on their innovation to a manufacturing unit. They also pass on parts of its production or scalability production or marketing facilities or packaging facilities to others. Or it might have a bigger unit to manufacture where it has marketing and packaging facility also. So when you look at India, India might have innovators, but India might not have facility for marketing and manufacturing of these entities. India might have this particular entity, India might not have innovations. This is where India lags behind countries like China, countries like Japan, countries like Israel, which have got not only manufacturing units, bigger manufacturing units for the whole world, they have got innovations also. And these are the people, innovators are the ones which are regarded the most because they are the owners of the the intellectual property, the trade secret. This is what India does not have. API we do not have right now. We are diversifying our APIs. Right now we have been importing from China, but we can diversify to other sources like Hong Kong, again under China, Singapore, USA. These are the countries which we can use for importing of APIs, right? So government is supporting the pharma sector through FDI in brownfield projects and greenfield projects, right? New projects 100% FDI, all imported money can be utilized. But if the company already exists, 74% of money can be from outside, right? So this is one. India has also initiated bulk drug parks in the country. PLI scheme also. So what is required is focus on research and development, digital transformation, of course, for all industries, focus on experts, nurture valuable collaborations. All right. So we have covered pharmaceutical sector in India previously, conditional market authorization and IPR. IPR is a good article that we covered. All right, let me see if there are some questions. Hima says Department of Pharmaceuticals in Ministry of Chemical and Fertilizers. Okay. Swati Surbhi says, what's going on? Swati, we are studying for UPSC examination, and this is a feature news, a complete article being covered on the issue of drugs in India, pharmaceutical industry in India, their status and growth in India. Niranjan says, please elaborate a bit more on biomedicine. Okay. Ashish sir, please explain antiretroviral drugs. Okay. Peace Lover says, sir, what made China rich in APIs? Okay. Mehroon. Hi Mehroon, welcome. PM calls India as pharmacy of the world. Absolutely. Kanupriya says, why can't we manufacture APIs in India? We can manufacture APIs in India. Why not? But then for that we need the, see, all of you are pointing at the same question. What about API manufacturing in a country like India? So when you look at the manufacturing of APIs in India, do we need research and development for this? Do we need the raw material for this? Do you know we provide a country like China raw material for medicine itself? But then do we have research enough to be able to produce active pharmaceutical ingredients or intermediaries? Before APIs comes intermediaries, and before this comes raw material. And after APIs, and then some catalyst, call it a catalyst. After this comes the drug industry. So we are doing this. And let me give you the analogy again. Analogy through iron industry. We have iron ore. Yes, we do. Iron ore. What do? We are not refining the iron ore in India. We are not processing the sheets and plates and bars, iron bars in India. What we do is we export iron ores from our ports, Visakhapatnam port, Goa port, Chennai port, all of these ports to China, to Japan. And they produce iron sheets, they produce iron bars, they produce 4 or 5 different kinds of iron entities which are imported in the country, and after that we are able to produce trains from it. After that we are producing industries with it. After that we are going to use them to create capital goods in India. So when you ask me, can we not produce the iron sheets, the iron bars in India? Oh yes, we can do that. Why are we transporting our raw materials to China? That same question that's there with me. It is only because China has developed its economy 20 years back, 30 years back. China, we were self-sufficient in API manufacturing 25 years back, 1990s until then. But after that, China gave heavy subsidy to API manufacturing in the country. And because of that, the cost of manufacturing of APIs in China, it went down 3 to 4 times as compared to manufacturing in India or anywhere in the world. And this led to all the countries importing Chinese items. Why 90s? That was the time of liberalization of trade. See, the formation of WTO, you can start relating it to that. And this is when China not only gained access to API market, world market, the iron is exported to America as well, Europe as well. Yeah. So when you say, why can't we manufacture APIs in India? We can do that. We have got raw material also. We can import raw material from other places. We don't have it. We can import it. And what about this? So for this, we will need more competencies. We need more research and development. We are coming back to the same thing. Square one again, research and development. We need scientists. That's why I say that some of us will be administrators, but amongst us will be some amlans who will be actually into research and development, will produce something enormously good for the country. And you have seen why India is one of the places, right, which is being looked at for the whole world. Investment is increasing in India. Its potential to rise in pharmaceutical industry is great, right? So, and so with the iron and steel industry, we are only exporting the raw material. This is foolishness, no? We are exporting the raw material and we are importing the finished product. How foolish is that? But this is us, right? This is us who are, we can't blame anybody here. We have to become better in our research and development. So Kanupriya answered Vakram. Sir, growth drivers versus inhibitors part once more. Okay, sure. Biomedicine, okay. Retroviral drugs. So ART, retroviral drugs. These are those drugs which are used in handling of HIV/AIDS, right? So the disease cannot be completely, HIV/AIDS disease cannot be completely eliminated, but its growth in the body can be curtailed. Its growth can be curtailed, and the immunity level, immunity deficiency level that happens because of HIV/AIDS, it can further be slowed down. The pace of acceleration of immunity decrease, it can be slowed down through taking the ART drugs. That is what India has been very good at manufacturing. Why India exports to Africa is because Africa is one of the places where this disease, AIDS, is rampant. South of Africa, Botswana, South Africa, Namibia, these are the places where AIDS is widespread. So that is about ART. Let me show you this image on, Kim says, this image on growth drivers and inhibitors. Growth drivers, what is driving India's growth in pharmaceutical is the aging population in India, right? Around 20% of the population of the whole world by 2050 will be 60 plus. So will India's be, right? So this is one. The increased support by the government for this particular sector, social sector initiatives are high. Not only that, we have rising of specialty diseases right now. See, right now, also, see, there is one theory which states that every 9 years, the cost of the production of any innovation drug, it is rising twofolds every 9 years. The reason is that, one of the reasons said is that we have already explored the conventional diseases that are present in the whole world, and we have provided solutions to it. But the rare diseases, those specialty diseases which are rare amongst people, their medication is not available, and to be able to produce their medication, we will need more research and development, more finances. The success rate will be less. That is why it will take more money. It will take more money to be able to produce those drugs, specialty drugs. So when it says innovations in advanced biology, nucleic acid therapeutics, or increase in investments, more of the investments will be towards specialty diseases. This is also leading to further lesser profit for the companies. Lesser profits for the companies. More investments and lesser profits because they are spending more and they are getting less. All right. What are the issues? Issues are cost controls, as they mention in pharmaceutical industry. Cost controls because of various reasons. Government policies, decreasing research and development expenditure because of slowdown. Generic investment, return on investment decreasing, right? If there are questions, please ask me about this. Let me look at the other questions. Biomedicine. When any biotic entity is utilized for creation of medicine, that will be biomedicine, right? Let me, if I have that right now with me. Yes, biotechnology industry comprising of biopharmaceuticals, bioservices, bioagriculture, bioindustry, bioinformatics. See, this is an allied industry. Pharmaceutical industry and bioindustry are allied because when drugs are created, they are created in two ways. One is chemical and the other one is bionics, right? With the help of biotech. For example, let me give the example of quinine itself. Quinine is used for the treatment of malaria. What is it? It is taken out from the bark of the tree found in many places, Africa. Quinine drug is produced through the bark of the tree, of a tree. So what is it? Is it a biotic entity or is it a chemical entity? It is a biotic entity. Similarly, many drugs are produced with the help of biotic entities. What are vaccinations? The traditional vaccinations are produced by the attenuated viruses or bacteria itself, attenuated, which are nearly dead. So taken out from our bodies, smallpox, chickenpox, measles, all of these are taken out from the body itself, from biotic entities, and then they are injected in their weakened form into somebody else to produce the antibodies. So what is this biotic entity? Right? There will be more exploration in biotic forms of treatment rather than chemical forms of treatment, right? Start relating it to the WHO also saying that it is going to create one center in Jamnagar. We just studied that in the current affairs article, right? So when they are looking at alternative treatments of medication treatments through Ministry of Ayush, many of them utilize biotic ways of treatment. So agriculture, informatics, bioservices, they are the upcoming fields in the future, right? Many of the companies are investigating more towards bionics, not towards chemicals. This is the update. Go ahead, please. If there are questions, please tell me. So I hope you understood why India is being called as the pharmacy of the whole world. We manufacture the maximum generic medications, although it does not produce a lot of value as compared to the patented drugs. We know, you know the reason very well now, because patent drugs, they are overpriced and it is not available to the common persons. But if it is emergency medication, India will break these patents. India will be able to still serve the people. Anything that relates to biotech, Niranjan, anything that relates to organic, right, that comes in biomedication, anything. All right, what else? Questions I will entertain. There is a prime difference between the Ayush system of medication and the conventional chemical therapy. See, the world is right now, that's what I know. I would like to share this here. Right now, the pharmaceutical industry is more towards chemical treatments. No, this is lesser towards the Ayush levels of treatment, right? So when chemicals are being utilized to treat body, the effect is far more faster, right? So this is what is the allopathy about. Allopathos. Allo means opposite and pathos means disease, pain. On the other hand, there is something called as homeopathos, homeopathy. Homeo means same and pathy means pain or disease. So when homeopathy is used to cure anything, the system works a little slow, but then when they say loha lohe ko kaatta hai, right? Or it is the venom which is able to treat the poison. This is the medication that we are talking of, homeopathos. Allopathos is something like this, that hot is used to treat the cold. If it is very cold, give them hot. If they feel very hot, give them cold. But then this is not a permanent solution, because the moment cold is stopped being given to hot, it will become hot again. It will become hot again. It is not a permanent solution, but this is immediate solution. This is what the world is looking at these days. Immediate solution. Give me immediate results. Give me the question which will help me crack the exam. I don't have to mug it up. I don't have to remember it. On the other hand, homeopathos or alternate system of medication, Ayurveda focuses on eating right. What we eat is what we become. They talk of the three different kind of entities with which or dosh that we are a part of. They talk of sattva, rajas and tamas, right? And they also speak of three entities which are kapha, pitta and vat, which we are a part of. Three dosh, and any problem in this mixture will cause disease. So eat right, become right. Yoga has got different ways of interpretation. Some people talk of meditation, some people talk of curing through Hatha yoga, some people talk of Raj yoga, different ways. Similarly, different treatment of medication like Siddha and Unani do also exist, but they are very much alternate. Some of them might utilize bionics, some of them might not. Ayurveda does utilize many plants, many biotech creatures. I had gone to Ramdev Baba's Yog Peeth in Uttarakhand, and that's where I saw that even leeches are utilized to cure diseases in the persons. So biotech treatment, right? Even 50% of vaccines originate from India. That is absolutely true. Okay, then you people are all set. Thank you, Smriti, Vivek, Hima, Babani, Netra, Amlan, Kanupriya. Welcome. And this is Friday. I would like you to prepare quick notes. Smriti, I would request you to keep joining 6 p.m. onwards. We discuss a lot here. And after that, we start the current affairs video also. This is the second video. The point is that with this, you will be able to prepare notes for your current affairs. They will help you in understanding a lot about your general studies and optional subject also. I'll demonstrate that. I keep demonstrating that every time again. And meanwhile, Saturday utilize it for revising the portions. That becomes important. Study less, but study properly. You will see the change in yourself. Trust us. So good night, Amlan. Good night, Ashish. Dheeraj, welcome. Good to see you. Hi, Tiyasha. Welcome. I have not seen you participate a lot of times today, but all right. Welcome, Niranjan, Tiyasha. Good night to all of you. Please prepare notes. Very important. Discussion is good, and this leads to memorization. But then preparation of notes lead to retention it for all times to come. That becomes yours. You will not have to spend minutes again. All right. So thank you for participation. I will see you again on Monday. Questions, please put them down. We will get back to you. Thank you.